The Tripibara presents Over. Content warning, disturbing images, disturbing themes, implied violence, and, well, I don't want to give away the surprise, but if you have megalophobia, maybe skip this one. Ricky flew her helicopter 500 feet above the waves. She had been the Sharkwatch pilot for nearly 2 years, and the breathtaking sight of the long beach, stretching from the southern town to the northern cliffs, still amazed her every day. The beach was busiest near the town, though the cliffs to the north were a popular camping spot, so Ricky patrolled the entire beach. A voice cracked over her radio.
Since this is clearly a quiet day, let's get back to discussing your travel plans. Over.
Ricky smiled and talked into the radio. Or you could just mind your business, Vanda. Over.
But Ricky, you failed to understand that I am not a busy person today, so you are my business. Anyway, all I'm saying is, you need to travel far and wide. You can only grow outside your comfort zone, you know. Over.
Ricky shook her head in amusement. You know you can leave me alone, right? Over. As Ricky approached the north end of the beach, she spotted a group of sharks moving towards her. Ricky's professionalism returned instantly. Base, I've got approximately 50 sharks near Watson Point heading south. They appear to be nurse sharks, no apparent danger, but, well, never seen that before. Over.
Did you say 50? Nurse sharks are usually pretty chill, so where the hell are they all going? Over.
Maybe they are running away from something? There was a pause on the radio, as both sides lingered on that thought. I'm going to go check it out. Over.
Copy. But just a quick pass, don't leave the beach unmonitored for long. Over.
Ricky approached the northern cliffs, where enormous waves were crashing into the cove formed by the rocky walls. Ricky had flown past these cliffs 100 times before, and noticed immediately that the normally bright sand under the waves was entirely black. Curiosity took over her thoughts, and she began to descend to get a closer look. Just below the waterline, there was a big white rock, about the size of her helicopter. The rock was the only light in the mass shadow that took up the entire cove. As she passed down through 100 feet, the white rock disappeared. But before she had processed the thought, the rock came back just as quickly. It was in that moment that the shiver running down Ricky's spine filled her body with adrenaline, as her fight-or-flight response kicked in. The rock hadn't disappeared. It had blinked. Her trembling hands raced around the cockpit, unable to decide what to do, as panic took over. Ricky's helicopter had already slammed into the water before she noticed the tentacle wrapped around her aircraft. The cold water snapped Ricky back to reality, and she swam out of the cockpit as it began to sink. It was a long swim back to the beach, but she had swum further before. She stayed under the water to prevent the waves from slamming her into the cliff walls. As she swam, she could feel the presence behind her. She knew if she slowed or turned around, it would be right behind her. Every moment of the swim, she expected to feel crushing teeth cutting into her body. The thought of screaming underwater, then drowning because of it, filled her with a dread she never knew before. But the next thing she felt was her kicking legs scraping the coarse sand of the beach. She stood up and ran faster than she had ever run before. When she felt the grass under her feet, she turned back and saw the large dark spot still lurking against the walls of the cliff. Her hands reached up to the transmitter on her shoulder. Mayday, mayday, mayday. She stopped talking as she remembered the radio itself was still in the cockpit. Ricky could do nothing but watch. Watch as the shadow pulled into itself, before launching off the cliff wall. The creature was enormous, and once it began to swim it looked like a long, dark, shiny skyscraper passing beneath the water. Its weight created a wave that nearly reached Ricky's feet, at the top of the hill. Her body was frozen in terror, her eyes followed the creature as it swam south toward the busy town. As she lost sight of the creature, Ricky collapsed to the ground in exhaustion. Then, her phone rang. Ricky frantically pulled it out of her wet pocket.
Ricky! Are you okay? Where the hell are you? You need to get back here immediately. There is something coming out of the water. I don't know what it is. It's... Oh my God!
The line went dead and Ricky dropped the phone to the ground. And there she sat. As the gentle afternoon sea breeze carried the blood-curdling screams of the town for Ricky to listen to. All afternoon. For more creepy shorts, find me, The Trippybara, on YouTube, Insta, and TikTok. Squeak squeak.